you hungry?
Give me something good.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Görgött. Today, I've again been inspired by an Instagram post by Frantzén. So we're making a Salmon Tataki in a Dashi broth with some Dill Oil, some quick pickled Kohlrabi, I think you also call it German cabbage, and some Trout Roe on top. But before we have a look at the ingredients that we're going to need, if you're not supporting the channel yet, please do me the favor, click the subscribe button and check the bell icon to get notifications. But now let's have a look at this. So for our dashi, we're going to make a very straightforward one. We have our kelp and our Bonito flakes. You can also make it with dried shiitake and these small dried anchovies, but I'm sticking with these two. We have our dill oil. If you follow the channel for a while, you've seen me done herb oils before, but if you haven't, I'll put the link to I think it was the egg salad episode that I made a couple of weeks ago where I did a chive oil, and exactly the same principle, just that this one is made with dill. We have our quick pickling liquid for the kohlrabi. It's half sugar vinegar. We have our kohlrabi. Some dill to decorate, because most of the dill is already in here. Our trout roe and our salmon with skin, because we're going to really crispy that skin up. The first thing we'll do though, because it needs the most time afterwards, is we'll get started with the kohlrabi to get that into the pickling liquid. And after that, we'll head to the salmon and put that in its brine, because we're going to brine it for about 20 minutes. It makes it a bit juicier when you fry it. Well, it's going to be a tataki, so it's mostly going to be raw, but you will taste the difference. I even made a side-by-side tasting once, and you can really taste the one that's been brined. But let's start with those two things. As you can see from what I have in my hands, I changed my mind. The first thing you need to do, and I forgot about that because I've done it already, is to rehydrate the kelp. So just this is 20 grams that I put in 1 liter of water. So do that first before you start with the kohlrabi, because that takes, I would say, at least half an hour they should be in there. These have been overnight, which is even better. So if you have time, do it overnight. If not, at least half an hour. With the kohlrabi, we just clean it up quickly. I'm going to peel it as well, so I'll see you once I peel this. Peeled, we'll take our mandolin, and we're only going to need 1 slice per portion. But we'll make a couple of slices. As you can see, they're not whole, so we have to slice a bit more careful. This is not the best mandolin. Always annoying. We'll pickle all of them, but let's see if we can do a better job with the knife. We'll cut a straight slice first. It's thinner, but it's not whole. Doesn't matter. We'll plate it nicely anyways. It's going to be underneath the fish. Yeah. It's the best I can do today. It's going to taste perfect anyways. So now let's get these in the pickling liquid. We'll just put these in there. This is just a quick pickle. Should be done by the time that we're done with the dish. Let's move on to brining the salmon. Now the brine for the salmon is a simple 10% brine, water and salt. 10% salt, not 10% water. And we just put the fish in there. And now this shouldn't be much more than 20 minutes. So try to set a timer for 20 minutes. And in the meantime, we'll move over there and we'll make the dashi. We have our pot of kelp and water, so we're going to bring that to a simmer, and once it reaches a simmer, we'll turn it off. As you can see, it's heating up, but it's not yet at the simmer. You can see the foam here. We're going to skim that off as well, but another minute or so and we should be able to turn it off. Now it's getting there, so we'll turn it off, and we'll take the kelp out. Can leave the bowl there, and we'll try to skim off some of this foam. Do it best you can. I mean, we're going to strain it afterwards anyways, but this helps to kind of keep the dashi as clear as possible. I'll leave it at that. Now we'll get our Katsuobushi, our Bonito flakes, and put them in. And we'll leave this in for a couple of minutes. And if you want to write it down, it was 20 grams of kelp and 40 grams of Bonito flakes for a liter of water. This has been 2 minutes now. I'm not going to film the straining, but just to show you, I have a colander with a straining cloth in it, and I'm going to do that off camera. And the next thing we'll do is fry our salmon tataki here. So I'll see you in a bit. Our salmon has brined for 20 minutes. Take it out on some kitchen paper. And at the same time, you want to get your frying pan smoking hot. So full speed. Now it's very important to dry off your salmon completely. The drier the better, because otherwise it will stick in the pan. Now that should be good. Now we just have to wait for our pan to get hot. And just before we put it in the pan, we'll salt the skin. I hope you can see the smoke from the pan. Now, salt quite generously. And it's time to put it in, skin down. And we're only going to fry this on the skin side, because that's the only thing we want to do. We want to really crispy up that skin. Shouldn't take much more than a minute. Let's have a look. Perfect. That's what you want. Now we're ready to serve this up. Of course, our salmon. And this is the dashi that we strained through the cloth. It's beautiful, clear, and packed with umami. And the dill oil is just going to kind of aromatize the whole dashi experience. But we'll put this to the side. We'll cut the salmon. And then we can start plating, basically. Now the easiest way to do this is to put it skin side down. And then we cut a little bit off on the outer edge. A couple of millimeters thick, the slices. And obviously you can do this with as big slices as you want. But for each serving, I'm needing 3. So we'll make 3 slices, and the rest we'll save for family dinner tonight. So 3 slices for you and me, and the rest for the family. And now we're pretty much ready to plate this up. But before we do that, if you stuck with me this far, there must have been something you enjoyed about this episode. So do me the huge favor, hit the thumbs up button. Hit that one below. It really helps me to get my content out there, as you know. But now, let's plate this up. So we'll start this with the dashi. We're not going to need too much. Maybe 3 spoons like this. Take 4. I have some kitchen paper here to dry off the kohlrabi. Take a couple of these. They taste really good, so rather too many than too few. Take one more and dry them off completely, because you don't want too much of the pickling juice into the dish. I would just pretty much place these in the middle. You're not going to see them afterwards. They're more for texture and a little bit of taste, because with them being raw, they have a nice crunch to them. Next up, our fish. Not to forget the dill oil. Our Trout Roe. And be quite generous here. And last but not least, a little bit of dill. And there it is. Let's give it a try. As you can see, I always have to take pictures in between the plating and the tasting, and that's why the oil kind of collects around the fish. Just so you don't think, oh, but that's not what it looked like before. Now let's give this a try. Oh. So you have to like dill, you have to like saltiness, you have to like kohlrabi. Can't stop. It's a great combination. Now the skin stays crispy. Obviously you have to serve it quite fast, but it's a nice crispiness there. You have a nice kind of bite to the kohlrabi. The umami of the dashi is out of this world. Goes really well with the kind of sweetness and freshness of the dill, and also the sweet sourness of the pickled kohlrabi. Just wow. Obviously, if you watched it from the start, you know that I didn't come up with this dish. I just saw a picture of it and made it out of that picture. I'm sure it tastes better in the original form, but this is, if you make this for your friends for dinner as a starter, they will be impressed. And as you saw, it's not difficult. Didn't even take that long. Yes, you have to put the kombu in water to rehydrate it. That takes a bit of time. But all in all, I think even with filming, moving cameras and so on, it took me half an hour now. So if you do it without filming, it's a 25 minutes. Yes, the fish needs 20 minutes in the brine, but you can do other things while it's brining, and it's easily a 25-minute dish. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you're not supporting the channel yet, please do so. Click the subscribe, check the bell icon, hit the thumbs up, and leave a comment. Take care until next time. Bye-bye.